Hello everyone. Welcome to this show from PCTV. My name is Jody Daniels and I'm the Assistant Executive Director and Geriatric Care Specialist for Chestnut Knoll. How many of you notice that as the years go on, it's more difficult to do the common everyday tasks? Have any of you ever been in rehab and you feel like you could have used so much more time, but your insurance company says all the time is up for you to get back to your level of function? I'm here today with two therapists from Fox Rehab Company, a company that's very much in tune and with functional wellness and in working with Chestnut Knoll on how to maximize the level of independence that every single person can achieve if they're willing to work over the course of time. Today I have with me Mike Melnick, who is the Regional Director of Fox Rehab. Hi, Mike.
Hello, Jody.
You're known to the audience, and you got a promotion since the last time you were on.
I did. Last time we were here, I was the Rehab Director for our Fox Optimal Living program at Chestnut Knoll. Now I am the Regional Director for the area. But fortunately for you, that we have Andrew here, who is our new Fox Optimal Living Rehab Director at Chestnut Knoll. So
we do. And Andrew Harnish is here, and he's the new Director of Rehab at Chestnut Knoll. Mike and Andrew, before we get started, can you give us a little bit about your training and background?
Okay, thank you, Jody. Sure. So I'm a physical therapist. I've been with Fox Rehabilitation for the past 8.5 years. I've been a physical therapist for the past 17 years. Working in a variety of fields, from outpatient orthopedics to aquatics to hospital-based settings. Came to Fox 8.5 years ago and really fell in love with the idea of getting older adults functional again, improving their safety, improving their independence, and not, as so often happens in healthcare, is, unfortunately, for lack of a better expression, writing them off. And really what it is ageism in healthcare, and not giving older adults the opportunities that they can achieve optimal level of function, optimal level of strength, safety, mobility, and balance. Fox Rehabilitation embraces that idea, embraces that culture, and they also embrace getting the evidence behind doing what we do, and that is providing physical, occupational, speech and language pathology services, both in the home and in senior living communities, such as Chestnut Knoll. When I came to Chestnut Knoll 8.5 years ago, I recognized, and Fox Rehabilitation recognized, that Chestnut Knoll has the same culture and philosophy. We're not coming to Chestnut Knoll to live out the rest of our lives. We're coming to Chestnut Knoll to really live and thrive. And that is why we partnered and developed the Fox Optimal Living program, which is, I don't want to steal Andrew's thunder, but in plain words, it's an evidence-based continuum of rehab and wellness designed to get every resident functioning at their optimal level of function.
Excellent. Andrew, tell us about your credentials and your background, please.
Sure. So I've been a physical therapist for the past 5 years now. I have worked with Fox Rehabilitation since the beginning of my career. And from the get-go, I really knew I wanted to devote myself to the older adult. So I quickly started a residency program right out of school and became a geriatric certified specialist.
Great.
And I have been working with you guys over at Chestnut Knoll for the length of my career, and really devoted myself to the older adult.
Thank you very much. So I want to talk today about functional wellness. What does functional wellness mean? You know, I have learned so much from these two gentlemen and their team over the years, and functional wellness is a term that really talks about, to me, how you do day-to-day things. Mike, can you help the audience understand what functional wellness is, please?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jody. So what we're talking about with functional wellness is an epidemic, really, with the older adult population. I'm going to give you a couple statistics just so we can wrap our head around how big of an issue this is. So direct costs related to older adult falls in the U.S. is roughly $28.2 million a year.
So holding there, falls is what most older adults are most concerned about. Falls are, it seems to me, as if can be the biggest life changer or game changer for anyone. So you're saying they can be prevented, possibly? You're going to tell us a little later how they can be prevented?
Absolutely. So the great thing about this epidemic or problem that we're addressing is it is preventable. And unfortunately, we've come into a mindset where because of insurance or because you're older or because you have these diagnoses, we say, oh, well, this is just part of getting older. And it doesn't have to be. And that is where Fox Rehabilitation and that's where Chestnut Knoll come in and say, no, 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 we don't need to accept these terms. And we don't need to accept the fact that because I'm older, I'm going to fall. Because it happens. We fall into that mindset, and then people don't give themselves, and even unfortunately the healthcare system does not give older adults the opportunity to achieve that higher optimal level of function where we're reducing risk of falling, we're reducing hospitalization, we're allowing people to live a quality life and not just a long life. And that's where we come into play, and that's where we help people through assessments, through our evidence, through our skills to achieve that next level and not settle for how they're living right now.
So I've had the privilege of working with both of you and learning about the Fox Optimal Living program and communicating it to a lot of people, and it really is a message of hope. That you don't have to accept. And the beauty I've noticed, I've been in the field over 20 years. I'm a licensed nursing home administrator. And what I've seen is it's sometimes difficult to find therapy teams who believe in that philosophy. So it is an ageist epidemic throughout healthcare. One of the things that I'd like to mention too is that the phrase I've learned from you, Mike, is that, and don't worry, it's related to this.
Yeah, my mind was going there for a second.
It's that minds lose memory, but muscles don't lose memory. And in our care for older adults with cognitive impairment, certainly we've seen how the program can work with the right approach, even with individuals who really are struggling with a dementia-related illness. So absolutely, I'm a believer, and it gives hope, that rightful hope.
I agree, and we've seen it. It's not just we're talking and we say, oh, well, this is hopeful. We've seen it in action at Chestnut Knoll, where we're working with our residents on memory care, and we're seeing them improve their function and improve their quality of life, despite some other cognitive challenges and barriers that they may have. So it's great to see that we're giving every older adult the opportunity, every resident at Chestnut Knoll, the opportunity to achieve a better quality of life and a safer quality of life where they're not as at risk for falling and hospitalizations and a decline in their overall function and independence, no matter what their comorbidities or situation is.
So tell us more of your statistics.
So just a couple things to throw out and things I think we don't even recognize when we're looking at healthcare in general. We did talk about the cost of falling in the older adult population. Older adults over 65 years of age, 1 in 3 will fall at least once a year. 85 plus age group is the fastest growing age group in the country.
Right.
Hospital readmissions cost about $17 billion annually.
Was that a B?
That's a B. Billion, not million.
Okay.
So what is all this saying? It's not only an epidemic in terms of the quality of an individual's life, but it's also an epidemic in the cost to health care. Everyone is so concerned right now with the cost of health insurance, what's happening to our Medicare dollars, and what we're looking at right here is that all of these things are preventable. If we're proactive, we have the right approach. If we don't say, this is just how it is, and we say, let's get in there, let's look at the evidence, let's give skilled, excellent care in physical, occupational, speech therapy, and personal care facility services, and allow these older adults to function at a higher level and minimize these risks. These are all preventable things that we can intervene. Unfortunately, the history for healthcare is to be reactive and get in there when it's too late instead of getting in there early, seeing what the problems we can address are and addressing them.
Right, right. That's excellent. Exactly. And that's why we at Chestnut Knoll have a program for community members that will put more information on the screen about that, because we want you to have interventions early on so that our exercise physiologist and therapy team are running classes with highly trained professionals to minimize your risk of falling and to help with your strength, mobility, and balance, in addition to doing it for each of our residents every day.
Absolutely.
So functionally, that is how we get to being more, let's say, fit, and we have more input in doing that in our lives. And certainly, as you said, the baby boomers are the fastest growing of the population of the United States, which with the 85-year-old plus. So you're saying to me, if I'm 85, I could still benefit from this?
Absolutely. And, that's why we did our partnership, created the Fox Optimal Living program at Chestnut Knoll, where we've seen in action residents in their 90s, even over 100 years old, who are continuing to improve their function. So to talk a little bit more about the Fox Optimal Living program, I'm going to hand it off to my colleague, Dr.
Sure.
Andrew Harnish, to talk about what he does at Chestnut Knoll specifically related to the Fox Optimal Living program.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
So as Mike had mentioned before, the Fox Optimal Living program is an evidence-based continuum of wellness services. So from the first day residents move in, everybody is assessed on a functional wellness standpoint, as well as how they're doing cognitively, physically, and as well as their balance and other evidence-based outcome measures. We use these outcome measures to really see how someone's doing as a whole, and from there set up a multidisciplinary approach. So we are able to decide, are they going to benefit from physical, occupational, or speech therapy services, as well as our wellness services. So as Jody had mentioned, we have our exercise classes 5 days a week. As Mike was talking about our large epidemic about balance and falls in our nation, the evidence shows that in order to maintain and decrease your falls risk, you have to continue to exercise and work on your balance at least 2 hours a week ongoing. So that's why we created this program, so that we can offer these exercise classes to our residents, ensure that they're receiving the optimal amount of dose and exercise throughout the week, and really we're not just trying to rehabilitate and get them to a point, and then oftentimes, sometimes in other therapy programs, you see this roller coaster or revolving door where people need services throughout the year. We're providing services, getting them on this wellness program, and then they're able to maintain their function and their optimal level of function, and ultimately reduce their falls and hospitalizations.
When you talk about balance, Andrew, I remember being at the mall with one of you guys, and we do the walk, water, wellness once a month or twice a month at the Coventry Mall. And sometimes either one of you might be there or have done balance screenings. So I see people who have done many, many laps around the mall and look like they can walk perfectly fine. And actually, Mike, I think you were with me when I had my aha moment when you were doing a screening. And yet when you are screened for your balance, there's an issue.
Sure.
So are there certain, if I'm aerobic and can run around the mall 15 times, why should I be concerned about my balance? I must be fine.
Right. So I'd make the argument that almost everyone could benefit from some level of activity, or at least an evaluation by a physical therapist. Walking is a linear path. Walking around the mall is great, but day-to-day life is not linear. It's very dynamic. There's a lot of obstacles, distractions, and things that cause people to fall. So, really, having a physical therapist do a full evaluation on you, looking at all the modifiable risk factors, trying to intervene in as many ways as we can to decrease those risk factors, and then ultimately setting up a plan of care and balance interventions is really what's going to help people fall less. A lot of the times, as Mike had mentioned, it's much more of a reactive approach. So people aren't going to their doctor and saying, I think I need physical therapy because I think I may fall. They're waiting until they fall, until there's an injury, and then they're getting the services because they have to have it.
And then it's a longer process because you're recovering from an injury.
Exactly.
So let's put this in practical terms. So functional wellness is how you go about your day-to-day, how you keep yourself in more physical shape to function and do what you do day-to-day. How would I start? Do I go to my doctor? One way I can think of easily is to call Chestnut Knoll, and you can call me at 610-473-8066, or email me at jdaniels@chestnutknoll.com and get information on our classes. But how about if I'm in the community and don't want to do that? What could I do?
Well, you can certainly talk to your physician. You can ask about physical therapy, ask about Fox rehabilitation. You could also reach out to you, and you will certainly point them in the right direction. Someone who's not sure where to go to, they're interested in the programming, but they don't know where to go, or their doctor's not familiar. Please call Jody at Chestnut Knoll, and she will certainly get you in touch with myself, with Dr. Harnish here, and we will certainly talk you through the ins and outs of getting started on Fox rehabilitation, physical, occupational, speech and language pathology services, or some of our free programming at Chestnut Knoll as well, which may be beneficial.
Great. Well, it's about a wrap, and we wanted to educate you to all these different things. Keep hope, get information, and we're glad to be there for you.